All right, well, good morning, everyone. Happy crossover day. I just hope you'll be happy at the end of the day. I know some people will, but I just want to thank you all for being here this morning. I want to thank by first thanking the great legislative partners that we see all around us and behind us this morning, and certainly our Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, Speaker of the House John Burns, our two appropriations chairmen, Chairman Blake Tillery from the Senate, Chairman Matt Hatchett from the House, and the rest of the members of the General Assembly from both chambers and both parties who overwhelmingly voted for this budget. I'm also glad to be joined by our constitutional officers who are with us today and the nation's best First Lady, Marty Kemp. I also want to thank OPB Director Rick Dunn and his team for all of their time and hard work that they put into the budget process each year alongside our partners in the House and Senate budget offices, for all the time and effort that they also still have left to give us the rest of the session as we continue to work on the big budget. So let's give them a round of applause and thank them for their hard work. Today, I'm excited to sign the amended budget for fiscal year 2025, a budget that gives relief to Georgians devastated by Hurricane Helene, makes our schools and communities safer through strategic investments, and yet again returns hard-earned money to the taxpayers. That heavy document right there on the table includes new funding for Georgia priorities, including over $867 million in Hurricane Helene response and relief measures, almost $140 million additional dollars to fully fund QBE and support our local school systems to help us build an unrivaled workforce here in the #1 state for business and soon to be the top state for talent. More than $434 million in new funding for the Department of Corrections to make our state facilities stronger, reward the corrections officers who do a dangerous and critical job to keep us safe, and to equip them with the tools they need to be effective and efficient. $3.5 million to design a recovery center for victims of human trafficking, something that the First Lady has championed and that will replicate the success of our two other intake facilities that have helped so many victims of this evil crime. We've also included funding to expand the Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit under Attorney General Chris Carr's office to Macon and the Augusta regions. As parents, Marty and I always keep the safety of Georgia's children top of mind, which is why I'm thankful this budget includes an additional $50 million in one-time funds for another round of school security grants to all K-12 public schools. That is on top of the annual funding we put in the budget last year for campus safety measures, something that I know that the Speaker and Lieutenant Governor are very passionate about. And with the local and state firefighters even now working to combat active wildfires, I'm proud to say this bill includes $4.7 million for the Forestry Commission to purchase a new fire suppression helicopter. And thanks to the fiscal discipline and conservative approach of those you see up here, we're able to continue investing in Georgia's local communities in historic ways through this budget. That includes over $500 million for the development and construction of water infrastructure in Georgia's coastal region to meet the growing demand that we see as unprecedented job creation in that area of the state. It also includes $266 million to support other water and sewer infrastructure development projects all across our state. It includes $28 million additional dollars for the very successful rural workforce housing program and $20 million to expand rural site development grants. It includes another $500 million in funding for freight infrastructure projects that improve our transportation network and attract economic development, something we also did last year so now a total of $1 billion for that effort. We're also putting another $265 million into the local maintenance and improvement grant program that community leaders told us was so beneficial last year. And we're adding over $46 million to the Georgia Transportation Infrastructure Bank grant and loan program to support local transportation infrastructure projects. All of this investment is designed to benefit our local communities, but it's also going to keep Georgians working in all parts of our state during these uncertain economic times. As we all know too well, inflation may have come down, but high prices have not. And that's why this budget includes $1 billion for another one-time refund for hard-working taxpayers. Just want to remind the legislature, y'all do need to pass that today to get it to cross over. I feel certain that you'll be able to help us with that. As soon as we pass the second tax cut acceleration measure, we'll be able to keep even more of Georgians' money in their pockets because they know how to spend it better than the government does. My goal working with the members of the General Assembly who have been such strong supporters in these measures has been to help Georgians fight through 40-year high inflation, to give them a chance during these challenging times to keep their businesses going and provide for their families by putting more money in their pockets, and to help them and their children have good paying jobs by developing an environment that attracts business and opportunity no matter your zip code. That is what people voted for in November of 2024, and that's what all of us have been doing, and that's what we're going to keep doing. So thank you to the legislators for helping us keep Georgia the best place to live, work, and raise a family through budgets like this. And now it's my honor to turn it over to one of our partners in this effort, our Lieutenant Governor, Burt Jones.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor. I appreciate that. And thank you, Mrs. Kemp, for being here, First Lady Kemp, for being here. Want to give all the credit to our good chairman over in the House and the Senate, Chairman Tillery and Chairman Hatchett right here. They're the ones that did a lot of the hard work. Want to thank the Speaker for his good leadership and the good cooperation. Look, we're excited about getting this budget done. And we're excited about crossover, so I know all the legislators are as well, to get the midpoint past us. We were very proud in the Senate to be able to give additional funding to our victims of Hurricane Helene, all the counties that were affected in southeast Georgia, the additional $300 million that we were able to appropriate to there was something that we were very proud of in the Senate, and also very proud of the cooperation that we had in the school safety measures, the additional $50 million that the Senate put in for school safety, and the things that we worked on during this legislative session. Obviously, all the funding that the $1 billion that the governor spoke about of a tax rebate refund that we give back to the citizens of Georgia is something we're very proud of, as well as the dollars that we put into transportation infrastructures and also infrastructures for communities around the state, including smaller communities, and the big project that we have down in southeast Georgia that will help out the economic development that we have going on there. So all this stuff could not be possible without good collaboration, good cooperation between both chambers and the executive branch, and we just greatly appreciate that, and greatly appreciate Governor Kemp's leadership, and also greatly appreciate the Speaker's partnership and everything that we do here. So thank y'all for being here today. Thank you, Governor, again, for your leadership on this. And I turn it over to my counterpart, the Speaker of the House, John Burns.
Well, good morning. Y'all know what I know. It's a great day to be a Georgian. It's a great day to be in Georgia, and it's a great day for Georgia taxpayers, I'm just telling you. Once again, thanks to the leadership of Governor Kemp. Two other guys I'll mention, three I'll mention really. Director Rick Dunn, Chairman Matt Hatchett, and Chairman Blake Tillery for their hard work on this budget. And we appreciate what y'all are doing and the interest you've given to the necessary needs in all of Georgia. I just want to say to you personally and as a member of the House, thank you. This General Assembly is making strategic investments that continues to make a brighter future for every Georgian, returning those hard-earned dollars back to the pockets of our citizens. Last year, Hurricane Helene tore across southeast Georgia, from Augusta to Valdosta, leaving behind what I believe and what I've seen, unimaginable destruction and generational damage to our homes, our farms, and our communities. Governor Kemp, First Lady Marty Kemp, thank you for standing with South Georgians and all of the members of this General Assembly that came out and offered aid in those days and weeks that occurred when so many people were in such dire need, just to get back on their feet again. And these members, along with the Lieutenant Governor, these members of the General Assembly continue to make those resources available to those so adversely impacted by Helene. That's why I was proud to be a part of this. That $862 million is included in the amended budget that will go directly to hurricane relief efforts. Thank you to all those that are making that commitment. Again, coupled with those tax exemptions passed in the Georgia House, victims of Hurricane Helene will be receiving over $1 billion in relief that will continue to support those impacted every step of the way as we all recover. The amended budget also reaffirms Georgia's commitment to safety and success of our students, teachers, our schools. This year, in the aftermath of the tragedy at Appalachia High School, the House has led to strengthen school security and provide additional mental health resources to students all across Georgia. Yesterday, we passed House Bill 268. Our comprehensive school safety bill, which includes provisions for each of our state schools to establish threat assessment teams. This budget also includes $1.5 million to begin the startup process for school districts to receive threat assessment training. Additionally, we're allocating another $50 million, as the governor proposed, towards school security grants, providing each school in this state $68,000 for security infrastructure, technology, and personnel this year alone, as decided upon by the local governing authorities over the school system. There is nothing more important than protecting our children, and the House will continue to champion investments to do just that. As Georgia continues to witness historic growth and opportunity to every corner of our great state, it's critical that we strengthen our existing infrastructure, as the governor said, and to invest and to build that infrastructure that will sustain our growth for generations to come. That $500 million he mentioned for coastal surface water resources, $200 million for communities all across this state for water infrastructure development, and $20 million for rural site development projects, just to name a few. This budget continues to highlight dedication to the continued economic prosperity of every community across this state, as the governor said, no matter where that zip code may lie. But our work is not over. We've just got we have to do another budget this year. That'll pass before April the 4th. Look forward to working with the governor and with the Senate, and I know we'll have just as strong a big budget as we had in this amended. It will be fiscally sound, forward-looking, as Governor Kemp will sign in just a few minutes. Thank you all for being here. God bless you all, and God bless Georgia.
Thank you, Speaker Burns, Lieutenant Governor Jones. Again, thank you to our Appropriations Chairman, the members of the General Assembly for your support of the budget. We'll get over there and sign that thing in just a minute, but we're going to take just a few questions real quick before we do that. Yeah, let me see if we got it. Y'all got it on topic. Well, I'll let maybe one or both chairmen address that. I'm not sure where that came out of the process. You know, the General Assembly has been very supportive of those efforts. I mean, we know the World Cup's coming. Our law enforcement personnel, all of our state resources are working with the city of Atlanta now and have been for probably well over a year on the security plan for the World Cup. We did the same for the College Football National Championships, and so we're already using a lot of state resources, but we have helped with funding in the past, and I feel certain that we'll do our part from a state perspective. But I'll see if any of the chairmen want to speak to that.
I think you handled it well.
Yeah, Adam, that came out on the Senate side. It's $7 million. Remember last year we put $25 million in the budget for similar projects. They were projects that are going to come over the next 5 to 10 years. If you look at what we're doing right now, because of the incredible interest we're able to earn on state funds, 1 year at $7 million is $490,000 in interest. So why would we let that interest sit with another entity when we could use it at the state to continue to roll back the income tax?
Well, I can promise you as soon as it gets to the state, it'll be moving to the farm or to the forest. That is our goal, working with our Ag Commissioner Tyler Harper of the Georgia Development Authority. That entity already exists. We used this when I first got here for Hurricane Michael. When we got the money block granted, it took forever for the Congress at that time to pass that because of a lot of partisan bickering. So that legislation is passed. They're working on getting the money out. I actually talked to the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, about that the other day. Her team is working diligently to get funds out to the states, and then there'll be a grant or a loan process for that, and other processes that we really already have set up. So we'll be able to move the money very quickly when it gets there to help family farms and our timber producers. And also just want to thank the members of the General Assembly. You know, when we propose the budget, there's still a lot of things that go on but by the time it gets voted on, and I want to thank them for input on helping support local hospitals and local community nonprofits as well in this budget that we'll sign here in just a second. Well, I will tell you that the members of the General Assembly standing behind me were dealing with those kind of cuts from the Biden administration. You know, when you think about a lot of these nonprofits that were getting money during COVID, and then the federal government quit funding those things, and everybody looks to the state to pick up the slack. And then, you know, just like on Medicaid redetermination that was designated by the Biden administration and the federal government, and then everybody's blaming the states for, you know, redetermining and moving people from the healthcare rolls because the rolls were expanded during COVID. Many people didn't meet the eligibility requirements because they had prospered out of that because of good paying jobs in places like the state of Georgia. So I don't think we'll be dealing with anything new that we haven't dealt with. I don't want to speak for the members, but my personal perspective is the federal government needs to be right-sized. We cannot continue as Americans to spend the amount of money that we're doing and not have, fiscal discipline in Washington, D.C. That's what's so good about That's what's so good about the state budget and the way we run the budget. I read a op-ed in a national publication the other day where the state of Maryland has a budget deficit and they're raising taxes this year. This state, we have a budget surplus, we are cutting taxes, and we are giving a rebate through that document right there. And I think that's what the federal government and the Congress is going to be working with and working on, and I think we as a state stand ready to help them in that effort. I think we have ways that they could be more efficient. Block granting money to the states on things like education and health care and transportation and other things. I feel certain that we can use those funds in a more efficient manner than some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. Well, I would just, look people in the eye and tell them that, we heard none of these concerns or horror stories as the bill was moving through the Senate committee process for over 2 weeks, where we worked with, trial lawyers in the Senate, worked with the opposition, worked with the business community to help perfect the legislation and get it passed through the Senate. It's only now that the bill moved out of the Senate that desperation has set in for those that are opposing the bill. And quite honestly, they are stretching the truth. I can tell you that as a husband to that lady right there, as a father of 3 daughters, this bill in its current form, or a bill that I will sign, is not going to keep anyone in this state from receiving the justice that they deserve if they are wrong. But what we are trying to do is make the system fair for everyone. I am tired of hearing from business owners in our state that are literally scared to put the name of their company on their vehicle. Y'all, we'll just pause here just a minute. Dr. Newton is on call. Thank you, Dr. Newton. But I would just real quickly wrapping up, our goal is to make the system fair for everybody, to bring transparency to the process. And so, unfortunately, a lot of things being said right now are just simply not what the bill does. Richard? Well, look, I think, from my perspective, my goal is to continue looking to see how we can keep lowering tax rates. When you look around the rest of the country, the states that we're competing with, they're all doing these same type things, making government more efficient, lowering tax rates, trying to make their business environment busy. They're doing tort reform in South Carolina right now. And so I think, my mindset will be continue to do this, but we're going to do it in a fiscally conservative way, which is why I'm so proud to be standing with these legislators that have really held the line on spending, made sure that we have government efficiency, that we're not growing government. We're going to have to, be even more diligent in that regards in the days ahead because of what's going on at the federal government, but also, the uncertainty in the economy. I'm optimistic that those things are going to get better than they have been the last 4 years. and that'll be helpful for us. But I will say this in closing, the steps that the Lieutenant Governor, the Speaker, our budget chairman, and the rest of the members of the General Assembly that have supported budgets like these, our fiscal shape that we're in right now, in my opinion, it's never been better in the times that I've been serving in state government as a legislator, Secretary of State, and now as governor. Our fund balances are great. We've done a lot of things that you all never write about to shore up, retirement accounts and a lot of other things that just continue to have us having a AAA bond rating, paying cash for capital projects 2 years in a row, which will save the state $50 million a year for the next 20 years. You don't see a lot of people writing about those things, but that is going to have this state in great shape long after I leave. So thank y'all for being here. We'll move and sign the bill.